Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Yes, welcome to Microsoft Round of Flight. Let's head on over to the guides. And we'll just... And yes, we'll just go clockwise here, or counterclockwise. Starting with Sarah, the future aviator.
Hi, want to learn about airplanes? Well, you've come to the right place. My dad runs this museum, and I've been crawling around here since I was a baby. A lot longer than those know-it-all boys. Most of them can't tell a steerman from a staggerwing. Just click the start button, and I'll tell you all about the planes in here and the people who flew them. This museum isn't the biggest in the world, but it's got some pretty cool planes. Everything from biplanes to supersonic fighters. My dad's flown a lot of them, and someday I'm gonna be a jet pilot, maybe even an astronaut. Right now I'm studying all about flying so I can start lessons in a few years. I bet you've heard of Amelia Earhart. She's the most famous woman pilot ever. Everybody knows she got lost over the ocean when she tried to fly around the world, but I bet you didn't know she was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic all by herself. And she flew solo all the way from Hawaii to California, too.
Yeah, a lot more to her than just disappearing.
There were lots of other important women pilots back then. Have you ever heard of Jackie Cochran? Well, she and some other women pilots set all kinds of speed records back in the 1930s. They even had a race called the Powder Puff Derby. It was the only race that allowed women pilots back then. They flew all the way across the United States. Even right at the beginning, there were always lots of women pilots. Some of them were even barnstormers and airshow pilots. They did all kinds of stunts just like men, and not just in America. There were famous women pilots in France, Germany, England, and lots of other places too. And a lot of women flew bombers and fighters in World War II. They weren't allowed to fly in combat except in Russia, but they flew all kinds of airplanes from the factories to the big air bases. A lot of times they had to figure out how to fly new airplanes with hardly any instructions. And Hanna Reich, she was a famous German pilot. She tested rocket planes and helicopters.
Very nice.
There's plenty of women pilots these days, like Patty Wagstaff. She's been an aerobatic champion lots of times. I do gymnastics at school, but I sure don't know how she makes her airplane do some of those flips. Women even went up in balloons way back before there were any airplanes. One lady got so excited on her first flight that she started singing. But maybe she was just screaming. It's hard to tell with opera.
Yeah.
Most people think rockets are practically brand new, but scientists like Robert Goddard built rockets way back when airplanes could barely fly. Hardly anyone paid attention to them, except some Germans. They built all kinds of rockets too. They even started planning trips to the moon. You know, without the Germans, we couldn't have built rocket planes. They figured out that jets need swept wings to go really fast, plus lots of other stuff about jet engines and rockets. Some of their best scientists even came over to America after the war and helped start our space program.
Oh yeah, that looks like a... This looks like a video right here. Don't want to, you know, accidentally trigger copyright or anything.
You can learn all kinds of neat stuff about aviation in museums like this, but it's a lot more fun to see airplanes at a big fly-in, like Oshkosh. Dad and I are going back this summer. They've got just about everything there. biplanes, home builds, even World War II fighters. They even let kids help them build and fix airplanes.
That's cool.
You don't have to go all the way to Oshkosh to see cool airplanes, though. There's a lot of air shows every summer. We have one here by the museum. Once I got a ride in a big Stearman biplane. It was really loud and windy, and when the pilot did a loop, it was like riding a huge roller coaster. A lot of those old biplanes got used by bush pilots in Alaska and other places where there's hardly any roads. They use newer airplanes now, but Dad says flying out there is a lot like it was in the old days. They have to land on ice and snow or lakes, and there's nobody around to help you if you get stuck. It's really not that hard to fly a plane, though. It's kind of like driving a car, only there's more stuff to keep track of. Dad says once you learn the basics, even the big planes aren't hard to fly. I guess I could even try to fly across the country right now, like some other kids have, but I don't want to have an instructor along. I'll wait till I'm old enough to do it all by myself. I'm going to start taking flying lessons when I'm about 15 or 16. I already know one of the flight instructors down at the airport, and Dad takes me up in our own plane. I have to get a little taller before I can reach the rudder pedals, but when I do, watch out. Well, I'd better get all my stuff together. Dad's leaving work early so we can go flying this afternoon. Click that button with my picture on it if you want to take another tour. See you around.
And that was Sarah, very informative. Anyway, I'm Brian Dragon signing out. Stay straight.